Kia ora koutou. We hope that you've had a great Christmas. We've hoped that you've had a successful year. We trust that you'll be diving into the festive season, and hopefully it's not overindulgent, but we do hope that you get that life balance in there. This video here is about the next training cycle that's up and coming. It begins January the 9th, and it is our last preparation for the CrossFit Open, but it's a continual preparation for the quarterfinals / semi-finals. So how this will work in this program, there's if you've paid attention to the CrossFit Games, CrossFit.com for the past 12 months, you will see patterns in there that may emerge of little styles of movements that are consistent throughout the last 12 months. And then if you've got your thinking cap on and you can recognize where CrossFit are taking workouts at the moment, then hopefully you'll be as well prepared as what we believe that this training cycle has allowed us, and then the one to come ahead. So on this training cycle, you would be expected in the competitors program at the very least to train twice a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a day off or a minor fix-up on Thursday with potential of a swim day there, twice on the Friday, and potentially the Saturday as well. And it's all broken up there for you. It will tell you exactly how much time you'll need per session. If you're a highly competitive athlete and you're looking to go to semi-finals and onward, you're looking at spending between at least 2 to 3+ hours in the gym a day. The time allocations here are given anywhere between kind of 50 to 75 minutes or even 90 minutes per session. But it's not all of the time. On a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, you would be starting your session one off with some blood flow work, which would mean you are on a monostructural component. You would be typically looking at either a rowing machine for rowing intervals, and I can tell you now that on a Monday you'll be doing higher reps of rowing for shorter distances, something like 20 sets of 250 meter row, resting 30 seconds between each, with different pacing constructs and things like that. 30 sets of rowing at 150 meters or 100 meters, just so you get the idea of where we're at. So we've gone from larger distances, we've brought them all the way down to shorter distances. Higher intensity efforts is what we know, what we get through this time of year. And on top of that, on a Monday, you'll be looking at then doing skill development work. So the skill development ranges through a whole bunch of things. I won't go into some of the secret movements that we've got putting in there. But if you paid attention to CrossFit.com, you have a fair understanding of what those things could look like. But even I wouldn't isolated to just those movements, to newer movements. We would still be working on legless rope climbs, GHD sit-ups, shuttle runs with emphasis on the turns, kettlebell carries. All of these types of things and nuances are what you are going to see in the quarterfinals / semi-finals. And if you're one of those athletes that are looking to embark on that journey, then you should be definitely not only keeping one hand on the finger or the finger on the pulse of the CrossFit Open, but looking at what's coming next in that next section or starting to develop that pathway now. On a Monday, you'll also be doing a lot of weightlifting through the powers, so power snatches, power clean and jerks, some pull work, so snatch pulls, and then longer time domains through conditioning, with also an emphasis of the cycle to retest or repeat a lot of open workouts, and then event-styled semi-final regional games type of workouts that are mishmashed all throughout. And there's at least 10 CrossFit Open workouts that are being repeated in this training cycle. If you've had the enjoyment to be involved with CrossFit for the last 10+ years, you might be able to get a chance to repeat some of those events, and if not, you might be setting your first score for some of these events. So there are some details and notes there to go alongside those events. On a Tuesday, we'll begin with a weightlifting session, specifically looking at the clean and jerks. This is what we would call our undulating periodic phase of our training, and what we're looking at here for the next 5 to 6 weeks is going to be lifting 3s, 2s and 1s. So we're really getting down to that heavy end, higher intensity, lower rep scheme, to try and push that boat out and see where we stack up on the strength side of things. And then we'll have another re-gauge before we get given your 1 rep max attempts, and in the quarterfinals we'll know exactly where we sit, and the development between now and then we should have a really good crack at it. So clean and jerk, those digits, or that type of volume. We'll begin the lifting session with a monostructural preparation. It might be 15 minutes on the ski erg, holding certain pacing constructs or having a certain heart rate threshold throughout. These are the types of things that we want you as an athlete to start understanding, how your body composition, physiology adapts or reacts to a machine, and also how to understand reading a monitor. That's very, very crucial, especially in this time of year. If you're going in kind of blindfolded and you don't understand how the monitor works, and you're just pulling on a ski erg, or you're just sending it on a bike, but you don't know the reaction to your body physiologically, then you can really let yourself down to a disadvantage when it comes to a competition or a leaderboard scored workout. Again, there'll be open, repeated or styled workouts on that Tuesday. We have a little bit of dumbbell movement play, just because there's so many different variations of dumbbells that can come up within the competition season. So just to make sure that you guys are well equipped in that area. It's not necessarily going to always be high intensity. There's a lot of play work where you spend time on developing the movements. And just to touch on that a little bit, for a lot of people involved in CrossFit, quite often we think that to get better you've just got to go crash and bash for an hour hard in the most craziest type of conditioning possible. But we forget that neurological development is very important also. So you could spend an hour down on the rig just doing chest to bar movement patterns and figuring out what that looks like, or the ring muscle up, for example. And it's something we speak about often here. If you aren't putting in that type of time and those things aren't developing, then you could be the person that finishes a 20-minute workout in 13 minutes but has 20 ring muscle ups to finish in the workout, and get 0, and someone finishes the same amount of time that you did, same amount of work, they finish in 19 minutes, they get 2 ring muscle ups, they get a better score than you, and probably quite significant. So this is something to think about. Really understand where your bottleneck components are and where the congestion of that would be. Not just like understanding that there's a weakness within your own body of work, but what that specific weakness does on an overall leaderboard. If you've got a weakness in pegboards, for example, it's probably not that important, because it's not going to show up in the open yet, and it probably isn't going to show up in the quarterfinals. It may show up in the semifinals. But understanding where your test is and understanding where you should start putting emphasis into your training, yet you can't do 50 burpee box jump overs in sub 4 minutes 20 and keep a decent heart rate at that. You got to understand where is the best place to spend your currency, really. We have repeated mixed modal work on a Tuesday as well. So think 8 sets, 15 calorie row, 15 toes to bar, maybe 5 squat snatches, 85 kilos males, 60 kilos females, repeat every 2 minutes 30. So development work there, understanding our paces, our metrics, and getting a real gauge on how that affects our internal system. And then you've got an option to choose either strongman or skill work. And in your strongman, you're looking at yoke walks, log clean and jerks, or log cleans even, and log jerks only, farmer's carry with the handles, anything sandbag related, dead ball related. These are the movements that are going to be in our strongman emphasis for the next build up right until semifinals. It's been proven, it's been shown that they've been able to facilitate that at pretty much every step of the way now. So we have to make sure that we're all prepared for those things. And again, it's an option. If you're understanding your test and you're an open athlete looking to make it to quarterfinals, well, you have the option to then pick up the skill piece. There's going to be a real heavy emphasis on ring muscle ups and handstand walking specific focuses for this skill cycle. On a Wednesday, we look at continuation of our the current training cycle that we are on, the 7-week block of our couplet specificity. So it's very CrossFit biased as skill work for about a 10 to 12 minute EMOM. Oxidative work, where we're looking at the time frame or time domain between 11 to 15 minutes. Running, biking, rowing, jumping, skiing, those types of movements in the oxidative work. And then an open repeat workout or a open styled workout. Yes, you'll have some type of fatigue by the time you get to that point. Not only is it just the third component within the session, it's also the third day of the training week. So it's a really good chance for us to gauge exactly where we are in that type of fatigue setting, and then when we get into the open, we'll be able to pull it all back, regulate ourselves, get to homeostasis before every single workout that we do complete. There is a session 1 part A, so that is it. You're going to put all your intensity into there, have a minor little break. Session 1 part B, bench press, weighted strict pull-ups. So just old school components. This is build a strong base, push pull, and get some good muscle development there as well. Increase the ability to have our gymnastics increase by having better pressing power, by having better pulling power. And then finally we have a run option. So the option is one of 2 runs. One is going to be interval work just on the flats or on an air runner, and then the other is going to be a hill run or an outside run where you go for 40 to 60 minutes continuation of longer duration, and that will be probably more suited to those that are at semi-finals and further. Thursday, chance for a rest day or a catch-up piece day, or there's an option for weightlifting, engine, or swimming. Okay, so swimming will be probably pretty high intensity there. The other components are lesser in volume or intensity, and it's more about movement, blood flow, and generating good positive patterns. On a Friday, again, we start off with blood flow and skill development. So there's skill development, wall walks, rope climbs, pistols on the same side before alternating, how we transition heavy drag rope double unders, things like that. Just think about the development of the skills that are going to be necessary for each stage of the CrossFit season. We'll look at doing our undulating phase with the squat snatches as well, looking at 3s, 2s, and 1s. They'll come down to 2s, 1s, 1s, 1s. I think you're going to get up to 95+% on your work throughout this cycle. An event style conditioning piece, and then you're going to choose an option between strength and skill. Finally, Saturdays brings us to a weakness warm-up option. You have 1 of 15 options. Get in there, spend 10 to 15 minutes looking at what that is. If it's just purely neurological movement focused, look at how you can develop better patterns. If it's capacity-based, strength-based, skill-based, whatever, you'll see what those things look like. And try and be consistent each week on picking the same thing, or don't really dive off of between 1 and 2, rather than trying to pick something new every single week. Let's just focus on one thing, get that really, really good, and then we can look at reassessing at that moment. You'll then have the option to go either monostructural or weightlifting. So if you're a good weightlifter, you're going to be on a machine, think 4 times 10 minutes on an echo bike, 5 minutes rest, and we're looking to group our pacing or metrics around the same thing, good consistency. If you're lifting, EMOMs on snatches, clean and jerks, split jerks, and paused overhead squats. You'll also have gymnastics for an EMOM skill-based component if you choose the monostructural side of the equation here. And then we would all move on into what would be recognized as a second session or an extended first session. Strongman stuff, so hand over hand sled pulls, sled pushes, farmers carries, dead bulls, sandbags. Again, we've covered this. We're looking at building our strength again through the undulating period of our numbers or metrics on the deadlift, and then a Metcon that's going to be focused around a repeat or an open styled / event styled Metcon. Finally, finishing with some strict pull-ups and an optional piece if you need to top up on your back squat or if you need to run. So it's a heavy workload. It all has a purpose. It's going to pay for you to understand, to sit down and really dial out what you need to do specific to you. I would say that about 80 to 85% of it is going to be consistent for every single athlete on the program to be doing this every single week. But then the other 15 to 20% is the moments where you get to pick and choose which is more suited to you. Okay, so if it's skill, strength, cardio based, strongman, whatever that looks like, you have the opportunity to really pull your specific needs, and that's how we can all grow together and also not have to go get a supplementary program and put it on top of this or figure out what days do I train or do I not. It's all there for you, and it's prepared to help you get your best performance this season in the CrossFit Games season. Cheers.